Oh, Jesus.
Welcome to HorrorTube. I am Josh.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Horror in a Tube.
This is our show where we...
One of two shows
where we get completely blitzed before we record.
Oh, balls.
And today it was a little bit special because it was my birthday.
The passing of Rob's day.
A couple days ago. Yep. My birthday was on 25th. And just like with my birthday, or with Josh's birthday, Josh got me super high today. So, this is going to be an episode. This is already our unscripted episode.
Turn into a ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so it's going to be a conversation.
Some rambling will go on.
There's going to be some rambling. Do you know what it was that we smoked on from you?
Nope.
Mystery. I don't know what it was on my end either. Oh no, that was the end of my my Platinum Kush.
Yeah.
That was the end of my Platinum Kush. I'm going to be getting some Wi-Fi on Monday. Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is HorrorTube, our, I think as Rob has described it, our freeform podcast.
Yeah.
Because we have another show, if you do not know, called Horror Wars, where we put remakes against originals and blah blah blah. And there's a whole bunch of segments, so make sure you check that out as well. But this is our less factual podcast, I would say.
Yeah, this is
like we say scripted, but it's more like we read off facts to you and stuff if you've never seen it.
Right, and then we kind of have like still a free form discussion there too. So it's a mixture of scripted and unscripted in Horror Wars, but this is like fully unscripted. Josh actually comes up with the ideas for these episodes, and then we kind of have our own thought process on what the episode's going to mean, and then like on Thursdays and Fridays, we kind of turn it into like where we want to steer the conversation.
It doesn't take very long.
It doesn't take long, and then we're just like, all right, so if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. But now we kind of know where we want to go with stuff.
We have our starting point, and then we just go from there.
And then, but we just don't know what's going to happen in between. This episode, Josh came up with an idea after we've talked about it a lot in this series, because we've talked about it a lot in HorrorTube that there are movies out there that aren't considered horror movies but are.
An example is No Country for Old Men,
Coraline,
stuff like that.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll be talking about them in this movie, in this episode. But there are more as well, like, you know, Deliverance, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory,
Jesus,
Clockwork Orange, Watership Down.
Well, you have to go through all of them.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, like, even if we don't get to these movies, these are movies that are like that.
Also, if you hear some rumbling in the background, that's my stomach. I don't know why. I'm insanely hungry.
But yeah, I do have something I would like to read. I did write this down because as I was researching, as many people know, even though this is a free form podcast, we still like to know what we're talking about when we talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's movies out there that maybe we don't consider horror, well, maybe that we do consider horror movies, but actually aren't.
Yeah.
You know, so I still want to be educated enough on the topic that we're talking about. And that's my due diligence, I guess you would say. But I read these words and I was like, you know what? I have to read this on the show. Films like these showcase a blend of different genres, incorporating horror elements to create a captivating and chilling viewing experience. Please note that the perception of horror can vary from person to person, so some may see these kinds of films as more or less frightening than others. And that's the perfect way to describe it. These movies aren't horror, but they inherently could be.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even said like Jurassic Park is a horror.
Yep.
Even
though
though
it's not really a horror film.
It's an action adventure.
Yep.
But it's suspenseful, and horror is usually attributed to suspense. And that also goes with something that we've said previously in Horror Wars, that horror can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But anything can't be horror.
It's just, and I'm sure there have been plenty of people that have probably been in conversation that said, "Oh yeah, that horror movie," and someone goes, "That's not a horror, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, I'm sure there are people that are gonna be like, "That's not a horror film," and then they go and rewatch it, and once they have that mindset, it's like, "Oh my god, this could be a fucking horror movie."
Silence of the Lambs.
Like when you say Willy Wonka, like that has comedic aspects, which is I had a couple comedies in mind too. Was The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey. It's
God,
a stalker
yes.
film. If you
It
think
is
about
a
it,
fucking horrifying film.
if you take out like even the little comedic bits in the film, it's a stalker film. It's
Yeah.
creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Or even staying in the road with Jim Carrey, The Truman Show.
Hold on. Yeah, the true. Oh, yeah, yeah. But the reason why people don't view it as creepy is because it's a guy stalking a guy, not a guy stalking a girl.
Yeah.
If it was that way, oh my God, it would be one of the most horrifying movies in the world. But because it's a guy stalking a guy, nobody batted an eye about it. But Truman Show, yeah, that's fucking horrifying because that's Big Brother watching you.
Yep.
Literally the fear of everybody.
Like just imagine you're in a world where everyone is an actor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's some some zoinked out of your mind ideas, but that would be fucking terrifying. And then finding out the truth, sheesh.
Hey, look, there's plenty of conspiracies out there that say that there are hired actors for events that happen in the United States. And that's basically kind of the concept of the Truman Show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these people are hired actors to interact with you
Yep.
through all of your major life events. I'm not saying that these conspiracy theories are right or wrong. That's not what this type of show is.
But it could. It's
But
just a crazy film.
it's a possibility because this movie does exist. So it's not out of the realm that other people haven't thought about this. You know, and that is a horrifying concept.
You know, I just had an idea for this thing. We could always write. I could send you because I wrote down the names of the films I wanted to try to bring up too.
Mm-hmm.
We could just put the big list and put it on on one of the pages and be like, do you agree? Or
Right.
did you ever think that these movies could be considered horror?
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's fucking wild to think that like comedies and stuff, or even ones that like people don't realize, like movies about war, they can be considered horror because war is hell.
Saving Private Ryan, the first 15 minutes of that movie are some of the... You see more horror in the first 15 minutes of that movie than you see in most horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And slashers are the worst offenders of gore porn.
Yep.
But Saving Private Ryan had more horror and gore porn in the first 15 minutes than probably most horror movies. And most horror movie franchises.
Yep.
That was the equivalent of what Michael Myers did to the firemen in Halloween Ends.
Yep.
Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, not the equivalent because there was less firemen. But there was a lot of fucking death in the first 15 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. Another movie that I would say would be Return to Oz.
Oh shit. Okay.
Return to Oz. This is actually the movie.
I just tripped over something. That's why. You hear me say, "Oh my god!" I just tripped over my own feet.
Yeah. We're pretty fucking high. This movie is, to me, the one that I've heard about the most when it comes to movies that aren't horror but should be. This and Watership Down. Because
I'm like, oh yeah, true.
those two movies are the ones that I've heard of the most, and probably for the longest, that this is a genre. Two very fucking horrifying movies. I don't even know how they classified as kids movies. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Like Return to Oz, and that has Fairuza Balk. I think no. The girl from The Craft.
I have no idea.
The main witch from The Craft, Waterboy. Billy Madison's girlfriend.
I know who you're talking about.
Waterboy's girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
She showed me her Vicky Valancourt. She showed me her boobies, and I like them. That shit. Her. She is in what the fuck was I talking about? Return to Oz. She was, I think she was Dorothy, if I'm not mistaken, in that movie. And that movie is so fucking weird. The scarecrow looks horrifying. The scenery is chilling. Everything is nuts because people don't realize that the story of the Wizard of Oz is like a 90 fucking story thing. Mm-hmm. The Wizard of Oz was like kind of in the middle of the whole story. And Return to Oz was like 10 years later after something became the wizard or some shit. The lion became the wizard or something. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of different fucking stories out there about the Wizard of Oz. And this was one of the more bleak ones. And everybody was anticipating, oh God, the whimsy and whimsical Wizard of Oz. The musical, yeah. This was not it. And then Watership Down was the rabbits that didn't have a home. They were displaced and there was wars going on and, different types of things happening, which were depictions of how Americans were viewing people at that time period, and how other places viewed us. It was a very scary movie in that aspect. There's two very prime examples of movies that definitely are not horror, but 1000% could be.
You know what's funny? Thinking about with like how a lot of these films touch on like reality and stuff. There's another one, James Franco in 127 Hours.
Yeah,
that's a horror film. Imagine this happened in real life to a person. They got their arms stuck while hiking. They fell into.
It's classified as a thriller though.
But that is horror.
It's a fucking horror.
And this is the plot of the film. The dude literally has to cut his arm off because he's trapped in like a ravine in the desert or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a horror film because that could really happen and has happened to someone.
Yeah, literally has.
There's documentaries on this guy. If you've never heard of it, look up the movie 127 Hours. It stars James Franco.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Another one that people say is really a horror is A Clockwork Orange.
God, you can actually watch all of that in the video game The Darkness. I think I brought this up before. You can actually watch the full film in that video game.
Clockwork Orange is one of the most horrifying films of all time. And it is not a horror. It is a sci-fi action.
It's just wild to hear that's what that's the actual genre it's under.
Yeah. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. The movie has full-on rape.
Oh God! Yeah.
Full on torture.
I'm gonna be real. I haven't even watched that full film. I didn't even know it had all that. That is definitely horror then.
Like gang rape.
Ugh.
It's
yuck.
Home invasion.
Well, then I'll definitely never watch it.
Beatings, all sorts of shit.
No, thank you.
That movie is wild, absolutely fucking wild. But it's not a horror movie.
I just thought of this. Would you consider Fight Club to be horror?
Yeah,
because he has a multiple personality disorder, right?
Yeah,
isn't that technically what it is?
It's him thinking he's someone else and
of having to live through that. Sleep, you're up every day. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Because he has like severe multiple personality disorder. He's literally leading two lives, like literally in his head. And the one thing is, like, I don't remember. I've only seen Fight Club like 2 times. I know everybody loves the movie. I know it's heralded as one of the classics. Yeah,
I'm one of those. I love those.
I've only seen it twice, and that's not because I think bad of the movie, but I don't find myself in position saying, you know what, I really want to watch Fight Club.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I don't have to feel like that. It's perfectly cool. But from what I remember, nobody knew that he was leading a double life in his head, right?
No.
The only person that knew was the girl, or she didn't even know?
Marlene, that was the character's name. She knew because, spoiler for, Jesus,
almost 30-year-old
1999, I think they came out.
Yeah.
At one point when they do the big reveal that Tyler and the main character, because he technically never reveals his name, he
Edward
just refers to himself as Jack, but Edward Norton's character, they're eventually in like a diner and they're talking, blah blah blah, and sorry, I lost my train of thought. And she goes like, you're, what was it, like, you're a little crazy, blah blah blah, but you're like you're wonderful in the sack, like in bed.
Right.
And he was like, we've never hooked up. And at one point she's like, you're crazy. She's like, you're fucking crazy, Tyler. And he's like, whoa, what did you just call me?
Right.
And she's like, Tyler Durden. And then that's when he realizes, holy fuck,
right,
I'm him. So every time that he falls asleep, he turns into the personality of Tyler.
Yeah.
But then he'll eventually turn back to himself. That's why they show, like, when he's talking, he's just talking to himself. Yep. Because in the very beginning, him and Brad Pitt, I always just refer to their actors, but him and Tyler have their first fist fight. Mm-hmm. And after that, they're drinking a beer together. And he's like, we should really do this more often.
Right.
And in the beginning of the film, Brad Pitt's there, so, like, they tap their beers together, like in Cheers. But later in the film, when they re-show that scene, he's just staring over at no one, and he just drops his beer bottle.
Oh my God! Yeah,
so,
yeah. But so then, the only person that knew technically
was
Marlene, but she only knew Tyler. She didn't know Edward Norton's character.
Edward Norton's character.
Yeah, she only knew Brad Pitt's character. She never knew Edward Norton's character. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. That's a really fucking cool reveal, and yeah, that is a horror. That is 1000% a horror. Living with that in your fucking head, Jesus Christ.
It's funny. I just realized a lot of the topics I want to bring up were more towards, I guess, stuff that's happened like for realsies.
Okay.
Lakeview Terrace with Samuel Jackson, where he plays the neighbor that literally is like the worst neighbor ever. Plays loud music. At one point, it features Patrick Wilson from the what is it? The Conjuring series?
Yeah, The Conjuring.
Yeah, it's got him in it, and it's basically, Sam Jackson is their neighbor. I forget the names. I haven't seen that movie in so long. But eventually he pisses them off, and he puts on like giant bright ass lights on his house, and he shines it directly into their bedroom to where they can't sleep. Like, he's antagonizing them every day, and it's fucking crazy. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend. It's definitely a different kind of film, but it's like those people that in real life get into fucking fights with their neighbors and shit, and it could lead to fist fights and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that to me is horror, because he was just, imagine living that terrible life where every day you're being fucking annoyed by your neighbor to that extent.
Another one that I didn't write down, but while we were discussing like realistic could happen horror events, like, I know a lot of yours are based in reality, but this one is something that I really think could happen.
Yeah.
And something similar has happened. In real life, it was the dude that had the bomb around his neck that was forced to arm a pizza place. Or no, he had pizzas. And it was a pizza delivery guy that had a bomb around his neck. I forget what it was called, but he went to go do an armed robbery because the people managed to get a bomb around his neck.
That's
this
crazy.
is something that happened in real life. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And then I think they're making a movie about it, or they did make, or they're going to be making a movie about it. But I was thinking about that, and that led me to think about the movie Phone Booth.
I shit you not talking about that. I was trying to remember the Colin Farrell film, right?
Yes.
Dude, yeah, 100%. That is a
Phone
fucking
Booth.
horror film.
That's a fucking horror movie.
Yep.
It literally is one of the most self-contained.
It's the easiest way to have horror be in just one spot and still be terrifying.
Yeah. And then amazing actors to boot.
A fantastic actor.
Fantastically cast movie. Yeah.
That's a very good fucking film to bring up. I was just thinking about that shit too.
It's one of them. It's one of them, man.
The fucking the J.K. Simmons film, Whiplash, the drummer one. That's hard because he's abusing his musicians and shit, and that happens for real.
Yeah.
I know people that have been in marching bands, in real bands and shit, that when they were then they've been in fucking, not jazz bands, but shit like that, to where their instructors were fucking mean as hell.
Yeah.
And would physically abuse them, beat the shit out of them. So, and J.K. Simmons in that fucking film.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Fucking gold.
He can play an asshole.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, a real asshole, like legit one. So I know that we haven't gotten to some of these horror movies yet. I keep fucking up episodes and horror movies and shit in this episode, and I'm sorry. We've talked about a lot of movies, but I kind of wanted to talk about my top 10 real quick. Just want to throw them in, you know, because I don't know if we're going to get to some of these movies, but I want it to be known that, you know, these ones are probably some of the better ones. Number 10, Inception from 2010.
Yeah, it's basically Bad Dream Simulator.
Right. Number 9, A Quiet Place from 2018.
Yeah.
Number 8, The Others from 2001. Number 7, Mulholland Drive from 2001.
I've never heard of that one.
It's a gritty detective, gotta solve them movie, like kind of Black Dahlia style.
Okay.
You know. Number 6, Get Out, 2017.
Oh, 100%. It's a possession film.
Yeah. Number 5, Black Swan, 2010.
100%. We brought that up on.
We brought it up. Number 4, Pan's Labyrinth from 2006.
I wanted to bring that up too, because I wanted to bring up, if you've ever seen the picture of the weird creature that doesn't have eyes on its face, but
has eyes in the hands.
Yeah, on the palms of its hands. That's what that's from, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep.
Bro, the beginning of that film, real quick, I just remember the scene where the soldier was
beating
the dude in the mouth with the fucking beer bottle.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that looked so real, because it actually broke his teeth first.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like
the
over the top kind of shit.
Yeah.
It looked like what really happened.
It
made me feel sick.
That was fucking nausea inducing.
Yep.
Absolutely nausea inducing. Number 3, Donnie Darko, 2001.
Classic.
Number 2, The Silence of the Lambs, 1991.
Silence of the Lambs.
Number 1, The Sixth Sense, 1999.
Oh yeah, that is 100% horror. I think we brought up a majority of those on Horror Wars or R2 just in discussion, but 100%.
So I have a big reveal. This is the twist.
Oh, is this the twist?
This is the twist. That little thing that I read at the beginning, and those top 10, those were AI generated.
Oh shit.
I had asked my AI to give me what an AI thought was a defining characteristic of these types of movies, and then give me the top 10 that it thought was, the best ones. And that gave me the description as well. So that description and that 10 are from the AI.
Oh, sure.
But I do want to say my top 5 real quick.
Okay.
Just 5.
Okay.
Number 5, Requiem for a Dream, 2000. Number 4, Silence of the Lambs, 91. 3, Pan's Labyrinth, 2006. 2, Donnie Darko, 2001. And number 1, Sixth Sense. So really the only difference is Requiem for a Dream and a couple of the placings. That's why I was like, real quick, top 5.
Okay.
So I wanted to just put the AI part in there because I thought it was
something new.
It was something new, and also we're talking about movies that that are but aren't. AI is something that is but isn't horror.
You know what I love is how we can segment our conversations, because I was going to go towards a little bit more futuristic kind of shit.
Right.
With two films that probably no one ever considered horror, but I kind of have, is RoboCop and Dread.
Hell yes.
Like, they're both considered action movies and shit like that, but they're both horror. Especially the remake.
The remake of Dread and the original RoboCop. Yeah, the RoboCop the remake of RoboCop tried to be kind of horror.
But the original is what I'm talking about.
But the original RoboCop, where he got shot the fuck up, where he was ripping shit apart, the fucking thing went crazy and murdered everybody. Yeah. There was so much horror in that fucking movie. The fact that he got killed and never would be able to see anybody again, and he literally got turned into a living robot. Weapon. He was cyborg. Yeah. Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
They just wouldn't they wouldn't let him die, pretty much.
No. What's the meme? You posted the meme a couple weeks ago the definition of not being able to call in sick from work or some shit like that. Like, even when you die at work, they won't let you stay dead. Or
Well, that wasn't me, but that sounds funny.
you did okay.
I don't remember posting something like that. I want to look now. Come up.
No, I was laughing. You're looking at. But RoboCop, that one.
Dread, it kind of
Dread.
made me think of like a terrible future where it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, they can just decide that, yeah, we're gonna make it explode with these fucking super robot guns.
Yeah. And the dystopian, like, apartment kind of high rise future that was.
Yeah, and I also didn't know that was the comic. That's how much I didn't know about Dread.
Yeah, Judge Dredd. The comic is surprisingly like that. The comic is very much like that. The original Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone and all that shit, I don't know why they thought that was going to be a good movie, but good for them. Good for them, because it was not Judge Dredd. The Dredd remake or reboot, whatever you want to call it, was definitely closer to the comics.
Sorry. Yeah, that wasn't me, bro. I'm all the way back in May. I
God
never
damn it.
posted anything like that.
Was it Adam then? I don't know.
Was it other Josh?
No, it wasn't other Josh. I'm also high, and I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure because I was like, did I post something about that? But no, that was not me.
Okay.
But that also makes me bring up the question within, like, Dread and all that. Would you say Mad Max is horror? Could it be considered horror, or is that just too balls to the wall? Because it's basically...
It is action, but I think there's body parts get ripped off, things happen, almost rape. He's literally trying to go after a woman that he thinks belongs to him. That's horror. That's horror. Like, imagine being thought of as property. That, there you go. That's horror.
In a tube.
In a tube. Horror tube.
Oh. And then in that kind of action-y world, this is the only other one I got, is Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the fact of that's even though Arnold,
he's a good guy.
Arnold the robot is a good guy and everything, and basically an unstoppable force as well. What was it? The T-2000, is that what it was called?
1000.
1000.
T-1000.
Whatever the
because he's the T-800.
Yeah, whatever the liquid dude from Terminator 2. It's
and
basically
from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Robert Patrick.
I don't remember, but if you think about it, that's hard. That is a kill. I mean, it's the same plot from the first one, but I always think of that one more because of, like, when they call home on the telephone when Arnold calls the house, and they ask, like, and he's like, "What's the name of your dog?" And I forget, they say Wolfie or whatever. Gives him the real name, and he says, "How's Wolfie?" And it's like, "Wolfie's just fine. They're already dead." It was like, oh my god, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of considered Terminator 2 to be a horror film.
Yeah.
In a sense. So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like they were the best fucking parents on the planet either, but
still.
That's also horrifying because, home abuse, all that shit. And Bobby Sputnik was also in that movie. That's a shout out to Camp Anawana.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a fucking TV show on Nick from the 90s. I forget the actual name of the show, but I remember Camp Anawana.
So yeah, that's all I got for that. I mean, there's probably so many fucking films out there that could be considered horror.
I have I mentioned Willy Wonka, but did we talk? We did talk about it.
We didn't really talk about it, but it is terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, Meat Canyon made a video about it. Shout out to Meat Canyon.
Shout out to Meat Canyon. Meat Canyon makes anything horrifying.
I was gonna say, dude just makes horror cartoons all the time.
Yeah, literally anything. Did you see the fucking Steve Harvey one?
Yep.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
We love some Meat Canyon. Yeah. We do.
Shout outs.
Definite shout outs. What were some of your favorite meat canyons?
Oh, the SpongeBob one is the one that got me into watching Meat Canyon.
Yeah.
That one, the Ed, Edd and Eddy ones are pretty good.
I really enjoyed the Peter Griffin one. When he was like, remember the time and all that, and it was the fucking house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, the fucking regular show one, that one is fucking
The regular
disturbing
show one
as
is
fuck.
fucking horrifying. The Garfield one.
Oh my, dude, that's a good one.
The Garfield one.
That's probably one of the creepiest ones in my opinion. The Garfield one.
I'm trying to fucking sit here and remember.
I mean, we could probably just say all of them pretty
All
much
of
because they're
them.
all good.
Yeah.
Even the shorts, the Pinocchio one, is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
He made a couple Pinocchio YouTube videos.
They are all very well done, and we definitely love us some fucking Meat Canyon over here.
Chicken Run, the claymation
Yeah,
show.
you talked about Chicken Run
That could be because I mean it shows them
getting killed,
killing chickens.
even though it's in shadow.
Right.
You don't actually see it.
Yeah, but still,
But
it's all
the
in blood.
reaction to the chickens, all that shit, that is fucking horror. And as you said, some people may find claymation to be horrific.
Me.
Yeah, you.
Even
in
to
general.
this day, it's still creepy.
Yeah. Which we discussed in the last episode.
R2, yeah.
In the archives.
Yeah.
In the YouTube archives.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I think we've covered like a lot of good ground.
Hell yeah.
Did we mentioned Coraline too many times?
Many times.
I know we probably didn't.
HorrorTube and Horror Wars.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it too much in this one because we've given our love to that movie so many fucking times in the past. But yeah, so I feel like we did really good on this one.
Because hell, even some of the ones that you brought up, I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that for some of them. So,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. I've always enjoyed that topic, just because they're, like I said, they're probably people that think a certain film is horror, and it's
not.
It's not considered one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is always an awesome topic. We probably could do some research and find like enough to make a second video.
Yeah, we could always do part. Yeah.
We could do a part 2 on this one. Yeah. What were the news stories? I know that we had the Saw one.
Yeah.
The Saw one.
With the telephone number.
There, I messaged Josh on Thursday night.
Yes.
Thursday night, and I was like, call this, or call this number.
I don't call random.
Or no,
numbers.
text this number. And I don't call random numbers. And I was like, and he was like, it's a Saw thing. I already saw it. I was like, okay. So I was like, I'm doing it. And I texted.
I like how you interpreted that through messages as me being like, meh. I was like, no, I already saw it. I just don't like to call those numbers.
I don't like those numbers. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. And then I texted it, I want to play a game. And then it told me that I made the right choice. And then I was like, it was like, tell me if you want to play another game. So I said, I want to play a game. Then it took me to a website. And then it made me do something. And then it gave me the fucking picture that was released with it.
Oh, sure.
It literally led me to the fucking picture that they already put out.
The Billy the puppet on the bike.
Yeah. Bitch,
Jesus.
if you're going to make me do an augmented reality game where I call this number, text the number, try to get involved, and you want me to play a game but don't actually give me the fucking game, and then you give me a site, and then it just takes me to a picture that you already fucking revealed, that pissed me off.
Saw 10 scares me.
Yeah. They're trying a little bit of everything.
Because they actually did that a long time ago. It wasn't with a phone number, though, but it was
with
around
a site, right?
It was like around the time that like Saw 3 and 4 were coming out.
And then weren't they doing like those scavenger hunt games?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But they had like a website up where it was doing the same shit. And you could actually, if you had a microphone at the time, you could record into it and it would turn your voice into how Jigsaw sounds on the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
So you could record kind of your own thing.
Yeah.
But they tried to do that before, but there's probably so many people that don't even know what Saw is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, there's a 10th one?
Yeah.
Where were the first 9 films?
Right.
So,
but
the description of the film scares me.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last time.
We talked about on Horror
Horror
Wars.
Wars, yeah.
Yeah. Because we actually just talked about this movie on Horror Wars.
Yep.
Last episode. I'm still very standoffish about the movie. I don't want to bash it, but the more that comes out, it makes me worried. I do think that the augmented reality game kind of sucked. I was sad. But I also found out through Tennessee Josh, other Josh, that phone number was used before. And it was for a fucking Jesus movie just last year.
That I didn't even know existed.
I didn't know existed.
So shout out to other Josh.
Shout out to other Josh. Because he told me, he was like, yeah, I'm not just going to call any random number. So he put the number in, and I was like, okay, so no Josh wants to actually just play along. Fine. So
yeah, bro. I'm not calling you a fucking number I don't know.
So he put it in, and one of the first things that popped up was the fucking Jesus movie.
That's funny.
And I don't remember the name of it. I sent it to you earlier, but it's whatever. I don't care enough about it. But I just think it's funny that last year it was a fucking Christian movie, and this year it's Saw 10. Like,
yeah, that's fucking wild.
Talk about fucking irony.
Irony.
You're literally going to be having a movie discussing and showing the torture of people with the number associated with the person that was tortured for your sins.
Jesus.
But welcome to Heart Team.
Oh, dude. It's all right, dude.
So, the other thing that I remember was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of disappointed about it being
Really?
PG-13.
Oh, I thought they were gonna say that the movie's bad.
No, I'm not disappointed at it being PG-13 because the game itself is marketed to teens. It's not marketed to mature audiences. It's marketed to teens. So I know people wanted like some hardcore fucking horror movie because of the anticipation and how the Banana Splits was and how Willy's Wonderland was, and then they realize, oh shit, those were all rejected Five Nights at Freddy's scripts, and those movies were really fucking cool. Can't wait to see what Five Nights at Freddy's looks like, and it's PG-13. I think a lot of people are going into it with the mindset that it should have been rated R.
I think the rating is fine.
I think PG-13 is fine because the game's marketed to teens.
Besides, they can't make it an R-rated movie because it just, even for the story alone, if you know anything about the Five Nights at Freddy's series, it just wouldn't make sense because you would have to bring in like a gigantic cast that wouldn't even fit into it, so it wouldn't even be that kind of film.
Right.
I think it's, from what you're explaining to me, it sounds fine.
I think it's perfectly fine.
Not every horror film has to be like your Hostels or your Saws.
Right.
Or
it
whatever.
It does say PG-13 for bloody and disturbing imagery.
Yeah.
So my take is that it's not a lot, but it's enough. And also, you're dealing with the killing of kids. You know, the reason why Sinister is one of the most horrifying horror movies of all time is because it shows the death of kids.
Yep.
And the death of kids is something that is still viewed as taboo in horror. So that's why I'm okay with Five Nights at Freddy's getting PG-13, because that tells me that it's staying true to the vision of the game. The game's a teen game, so and Scott Cawthon's on set.
And I was gonna say, and if anyone wants to learn about that without playing the games, we talk about it all the time. Game theory.
Game theory.
On YouTube has been talking about Five Nights at Freddy's for like 10 years now since it came out.
And evolving
videos,
theories.
And now they're piecing together the story to where now it's like it actually makes fucking sense.
Yep.
So if you want some backstory, I mean, and you want some background noise when you're doing something at the house or whatever, Game Theory's got you covered to fill you in on what the fuck Five Nights at Freddy's is.
Yeah, and there's shout out to them for their fucking diligence, because they've been able to piece together the fucking the books,
That dedication.
the movie, or the books, the video games, the extra video games, the mobile games, the PlayStation games, any fucking thing. They've been like on that shit. So hell yeah to them. And hell yeah to Scott Cawthon for actually like recognizing them. The creator of Five Nights at Freddy's is like, hey, these guys are doing great. So definitely keep following them.
When you have the creator literally on set, you're good.
Yeah. Yep. That's like Bife being invited to Bungie.
Yep.
You know, the lore daddy going and doing lore with the Destiny creators, even though they hate their game. There was another topic, and I don't remember it.
So, was it about rides or something?
Oh, Universal unveiled the theme and everything for its Halloween Horror Nights. I did not get the chance to read the article to see what it was, but
Gotcha.
Every year Universal Theme Parks has a Halloween themed event. And as with every year, they reveal it around this time. So go to macabredaily.com.
Shout outs.
They are the dark side of pop culture. They are where we get all of our news information from. Now, apparently for HorrorTube as well, because this is the second episode where we sprinkled in some news from them.
News.
So, yeah. I don't think there's really too much left to talk about. I know that that training camp started a couple days ago.
Oh, football.
Football.
American football.
Yeah, for any Eagles fans that listen to this, that's in this area, there is a public training camp for the Eagles at the Link. Tickets are on sale for it, and it's like $20 a ticket.
Why do you know that?
Because I was looking up, Dr. Dre is going to a Buccaneers versus Eagles game. So I thought it was at the Link, and he was like, no, I'm going to be in Tampa for the game. So we got tickets for the game down there, and it's going to be against the Eagles. I was like, oh, because remember I told you he's a Buccaneers fan.
Yeah.
So that got me looking at ticket prices of like what Eagles ticket prices are right now. And when I looked at it, it showed that there was a public training camp, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. That exists. So I clicked on it, and it was $19 a ticket. So if you're an Eagles fan, and you got like a couple bucks to spare and you want to see them do public training camp, just search it online.
No shit. And
you'll be able to go see it. Yeah, I sorry, but that was a football related thing that came into my mind right there.
Random info of the day.
Yeah. So I think that's it. We want to do the do you want to do the full reveal for episode 49 of Horror Wars right now, or do you got something else?
Nah, it's time.
It is time. We have been fucking teasing this for weeks now.
Months.
Yeah, because never mind, you're right. I'm still pretty high, my bad. Thank you. So we've been teasing this for quite a while. When we said episode 48, 49, and 50 were special to us, we really meant it. 48, which was Night of the Living Dead, was supposed to be our episode 50. But as the show progressed, another movie kind of became more definitive with us.
Yep.
And that was Last Shift and Malum. Because that was then going to be our second episode 50. As Josh and I were debating and discussing and this and that, we kind of came to a literal general consensus that, you know what? Another movie has become even more synonymous with this show.
Yep.
And that will be episode 50. So if you really want to know what movie we're talking about, I'm sure you can find some hints towards it in the archives of Horror Wars.
Plenty of foreshadowing.
Plenty of foreshadowing. So as I just said, episode 49 is going to be The Last Shift versus its remake, Malum. We had somebody ask a few weeks ago on Horror Wars,
what's up with that?
What's up with that? And we kind of gave a coy reaction. Well, because this was going to be our second episode 50, it is episode 49. The horror club for that episode is going to be fucking 7.
What's in the fucking box?
What's in the fucking box?
The Brad Pitt. The Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman and piece of shit Kevin Spacey.
Piece of shit Kevin Spacey.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Stacked fucking cast.
Stacked cast.
Stacked cast.
Except that piece of shit.
Except that piece of shit. And did we want to reveal horrors of gaming? Or are we not really fixed on that one yet?
Let's say the horrors of gaming. I feel like that one doesn't compare to the swing of the first 3 films.
Yeah. All right. So, as Chuck Woolery says, see you in 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Shout out to Chuck Woolery.
Shout out to Chuck Woolery. I love that that's become a thing for everything now. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Oh, a dude. I'm Josh.
And I'm Rob.
And we'll see you next week for Horror Wars.
Yeah. And with that, bye.
Bye.
2 and 2. Be right back.